Okie dokie, number one, this content game. This is dangerous stuff. If you get to know me, I am an obsessive human being. I don't like to half-ass anything. I also don't like to go from one thing to another to another. I like to really fully get involved with one thing at a time. And this content thing is soaking up every ounce of who I am as a human being. When you think about like volume, at the end of the day, you just have to have a fuck ton of volume out. And so I don't want to say like, hey, let's do 1/5 of the volume that we're doing. Let's say each daily bread on average is 10 minutes. That means over the next month, we can put out 40 minutes of content or 400 minutes of content. And then over 2 weeks, it's 80 versus 800. And then it's 160 versus 1600. So it compounds fast. I think it's important backstory to say that more than 10 years ago, I wanted to be a YouTuber. That was my teenage self's goal. I've always had a little bit of creativity and I've always liked it. But over the last 10 years, it wasn't anything that I ever looked at as fruitful. There's always something that was either more pressing or disadvantages that I didn't think would give me a leg up against the entire world that was also trying to get into content and still is. I needed a long auxiliary cable because I'm booming this shotgun mic, and I came to your neighborhood friendly Walmart because they had one online. And backstory, I left my wallet at a restaurant the other day when I was out with my mom and fam. All this to say that Walmart doesn't take Apple Pay. Who doesn't? It's 2024. Who doesn't take Apple Pay? I finally think that I have a leg up in being able to tell stories and gain attention more than other people do. And there's a few reasons for it. Number one is I have more stories to tell. Over the last 10 years, I've lived a lot of life. I have failed more than most people watching this video will ever attempt to do new things. I've had really cool successes and I've had some cool journeys. And with that, I have stories to tell, lessons to teach, and just concepts that I want to share. The fruitful side on the back end is that I have a reason to create content. Now I have a reason to want to get eyeballs and a business to focus those eyeballs on. For the first time, content is aligned. And when something is aligned and I see that there's an area that I need to grow in and put focus in, I am fully focused on content. I think the one thing that we can do better is recruit. I think we can just focus on recruiting higher level people. And one of the things I think you and I need to talk about, more so for me, is just where you want me involved, because I'm really noticing a struggle for myself dealing with business and content. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's really hard for me to focus on both. And so wherever I put my business focus, I'm realizing that time is becoming a lot more precious. And so do you want me focusing on sharing with you? Do you want me focusing on hiring with you? But when it comes to thinking about problems and writing stuff and creating stuff and blah, 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 I think that one of the things that we probably should put our time to is just getting recruiting dialed in for that. I want to take Hermosi level information, Iman level quality of production, but Casey Neistat level of creativity and just daily volume in his daily vlogs. And I want to put all three of those together and put them on camera. So for the next 2 months, this is really just trial and error, fixing out the bugs, making an environment that has less friction in order to record. But I want to make sure that people like you have that sense of dopamine and freshness going through the video as it gets to the 5, 10, 20-minute mark. The best person I've ever seen do that is Casey Neistat. And the way he does that, aside from telling a good story, is by changing environment and changing angles.
Here's a super basic breakdown of a story, and every good story follows this rule. That is the rule of a 3-act narrative. You've got a beginning, you've got a middle, you've got an end. Setup, conflict, resolution. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water, Act 1. Jack fell down and broke his crown, Act 2. Jill came tumbling after, Act 3. Setup, conflict, resolution.
And so I want to be able to, example given, go from a shot like this to a shot like this. And it looks easy on your end. I'm just in a different frame. I'm well lit. But anytime something looks easy, there's oftentimes a lot of upfront work that goes into making it look effortless. To show you the effort behind this, let's break down every single step of how we got to this shot, this frame. I think I literally created the most jank version, but it works, of a light arm slash boom arm slash setup. Anyway, I think it's awesome. Here it is. So this is a newer monopod. This is what you would essentially clamp to a desk to put a camera behind your laptop or behind your computer. That's what I did. And so I clamped it instead to this arm and then took it down, threaded an adapter in so I could take my Rode Go or whatever these are called. We're gonna replace this with the Sennheiser. By the time I sit down, it's a foot away from me or so. Halo light right on top of head at like 4,200 Kelvin or something like that. So halo light comes down, creates some difference between me and the background. All that goes back. And then light is of course powered. Auxiliary cable goes directly into camera. When we replace that with the Sennheiser, then that's going to go directly into this, and then Phantom Power some higher quality audio. Key light will go here. That's the behind the scenes to the frame that you're seeing. To go from one setting to another, to another, to another, telling a story, thinking about this stories, really framing out and storyboarding all of that, that's a full-time gig. If you think about Casey Neistat, his full-time gig was vlogging. The problem is that I am not a full-time vlogger. I am still running a business and I'm still trying to grow the businesses. How do I do all of that while still actually running everything I want to run and still showing you every day of what I'm currently doing? That's kind of where it gets tricky, and that's where environment comes into play. Today, the lesson is content. The conflict is that creating really good content is not easy. The solution and resolution are to come still in this video, but that's my lesson for now. I actually have to do some work, so I'll see you guys in a bit. Your business, doesn't matter how good your operations are, how good your sales team is, how good your product is. If you don't have gas, meaning lead flow, you're not going to light anything. You're not going to go anywhere. I say this all the time about Partner and Scale. I see businesses that are so bad, but they have lead flow, they have gas, and they have basic enough operations and decent enough product to where they can create cash. So the point to this entire video is I'm going to use content as my gas, as my lead flow, because you really only have three types of gas. You have ads, you have outbound sales teams, which in the online space, selling to the online space are kind of hard, not as applicable. And then third, you have content, you have organic, whether that's Instagram, YouTube. The other side of this is I know we're talking about YouTube and real long form content, but you can do 1 million, 2 million, 3 million a month on just Instagram or just TikTok. And so when I talk about long form, this is just one channel. Realistically, you can take anything we're talking about in this video and apply it to short form on Instagram, short form on Facebook. I feel like over the last 2 months, I focused on quality of product, but not putting gas into the chamber. This is a rough go at the 3-piece, meaning today, by the beginning of the day, I had no idea we were going to tell a 3-piece story. By the end of the day, kind of try to frame it together. First part, conflict, is that creating content has a lot of friction. Solution, optimize office. Resolution is that it is the gas to the business. Ugh, that's a stretch as to how I did that. Tomorrow, I want to get back into where we can use the resolution and solution as something that we can screen share and show, because I want to give you guys tangibles. I hope you guys are enjoying these. I hope you're enjoying the new format. If you're not, then f off. Love you guys much, and until next time.